We are back to part two of problem solving, and we previously did the pseudocode. So today, in this lesson, we are going to look at how we can do the trace table. So number two says design and execute a trace table that displays so we should design and execute a trace table that displays the hours worked, overtime pay, and gross pay of each housekeepers if the hours worked is greater than overtime is calculated at double. Okay, so that we are going to do. And remember, if you go to your database, you will notice that you have this data here. This data, that's what you are going to work with. So I have my data here already, so I'm going to work with that. Okay, so that's why I kept it handy. So what we are going to do now, to start with this, we are going to go to the start, and we go to Microsoft Word. I just type Word, and we open the Microsoft Word. Once we do that, we have a blank page. Some of you, when you start, you may see this landing page, but I'm having this because I have Microsoft Word open already. That's why I'm having this page. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to change the orientation of this page. And what I'm going to do right now is to go to Layout, and we'll click on the orientation button, click the arrow, and I have Portrait and Landscape. So I'm going to flip it to Landscape. Now, reason why I'm flipping it to Landscape is because the algorithm design here is kind of it's going to be large in a way, so that's why I'm flipping that. So let's see how we can do that so that it becomes reasonable enough. Okay, so let's see what happens. Okay, so let's see how it goes, right? I'll minimize this one. Let's start first. So the start first, what you need to do here is I'm going to do something very unique, which we haven't done, which I would have loved if we did it here. So just go back here on this pseudocode. Just put your cursor by the start there and press enter once or twice. Then you bring back the cursor to the beginning. We'll do what we call part of documentation. You just put a comment. Try and say what the program supposed to do again. Okay. So the program is supposed to do this and that. Yeah. Okay. What's the program again? Let me see. Okay, I'm just going to copy this. All right. I'm going to put it here and say, okay, um, okay, this is a comment. I'm going to use this comment to describe the program. So, program, what does the program do? See if I can bring this here. Oh, come. Okay, so this is what the program does, right? Program accept input. Okay, the next line I use it to, so I put in the name of the developer. Say developed by, you put in your name. You can put in your full name if you wish. So you put in your full name here. Then with your exam number, uh, or you say candidate number with candidate number. You put in your candidate number. You put type in your candidate number. So your candidate number will be your exam number. Okay. Then you put in the date you finish creating this. So I will just use today's date, which is 23rd, 23 February 2026. Okay, so it's just a quick one that you will have to do and update. Okay, so once you do that, we can now proceed with the program. So this is very essential. It's part of documentation for your program, and it also comes with a mark when it is being graded. So let's see what we can do. Save that, click on file, save, and this is going to be saved. Okay, so I will just keep this on the screen for 10 seconds. You can pause it so that you can see if you can type that out. Remember, don't put my name, just make sure it's your name and your candidate number. Then you put the date you actually finished it. Okay, so that will do. Now, let's proceed with the trace table. So I go back and I go to trace table. So I'm going to do this now. I will just put in candidate name. Click on and so home. I'm going to say Control A. I'm going to change this body to Times New Roman, and I will make it size 12. Yeah, 12. Okay, that is good documentation sizing, text size. So I'm going to say candidate name. That will be your name. So you just put your name there. Candidate number. So you put in your exam number in there, right? Yes. Once you're done with the exam number, you may wish to put date. So you put today's date, which put the date you actually do the trace table, and that is when you completed the trace table. Yeah. Okay. So now press enter, and I'm going to press enter twice, right? So I'm going to go to insert. I'm going to insert a few tables that we have to do with the variables I created, right? That we use for the calculation, although not all the variables will be used. So I'm just going to pick out the specific ones, like the hours and all that. Okay, so I think I have overtime hours. I have I'll just pick specific, right? Okay, so I'm going to say I'm going to create maybe like 6 columns. So I go to the insert, right? Click on the insert table. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 columns. 6 columns. So let me just say 6 by 6, right? And I'm going to use that as my trace table. I'm going to use that as my trace table headers. Okay. So I'm going to call up the variables. So here I have the X for the array, and here I'm going to say name, and I put in the array, right? Names. Make sure you put it the way your variables are in the pseudocode, right? Yes, let it be just the way you put it there, pseudocode. So you have name, and you have hours, right? Um, so you have name, hours, and so on. So you have name, then maybe TRN, right? TRN, then you have the uh, You have the hours. Right? You have X. Why this thing keeps doing that? So you have hours, then square bracket, X, close square bracket. Here too, you will have something similar. So this now you have to check. Remember the program calculates on the double if the hours worked is greater than 40. So you have to call the hours again. Hours X. So greater than 40. So if it's greater than 40, then you have to do some calculation, and that calculation will fall in where? Okay, so let me adjust this. I think I'll add the additional columns. Let's see. Okay, so if it is greater than, this H should be small. Yes, and this one should be I'm going to add additional. So to add additional column, all you need to do is come over here where you have this column. If you hover your mouse at the edge here, you see a plus sign. Just click on the plus sign. Yeah, you can add additional column. So here I'm going to add think that would be, let me see what we have there. Yeah, overtime pay. So we are, you have overtime. Yeah. So you have overtime. We have the overtime there. What do you have again? Overtime. Then you have the pay. So if hours is greater than, yes, then you have the pay. Just go in here. Add another one. You have the pay X. I hate when this thing does this. So the pay X. So let me see what we have here. So you have the pay X. And yeah, I think so. So this one now I'm going to say control. No, I'm going to remove that. So to remove an empty column, just press the shift button. No, just select. When when you hover your mouse, you see the black arrow dropping down. Just click on it and drag, and you select delete columns. Right. Okay. So let's go back and see what we've done so far. Right. So let us expand this. Expand this one here. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So let me read that again. Over time. Okay. Over time is minus 40. Right. So let's see how it goes, right? If overtime is at minus 40, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to start with it's five um, arrays, right? So if it is five arrays, I'm going to do 0, 1, 2, 3, and a 4, right? So if I have that, the next thing I'm going to do is try to put in the names of um, the names of those I have here and their possible TRN. Okay. Okay. Let me see what I can do. Okay. Okay. So I am going to go back. Where's this? Come back here. I'm going to put in the names of the TRN. So I have B. That will be my test data. I have and Gruber. Right. I have Hans Gruber. I have now. This would be. You don't have to use mine, right? You have your own data, so you check your data and you use your data to test. Okay. Don't use my own data. Mine is what I'm using for testing. So the other one is here. Chika, right? So for me, I'm just using the last names. And I have one do. Okay. I'm going to put in the TRN, which I give them initially. So you put your own test data just as it is from your database. 0, 1, 8. We have unknown. One 8 0 4 2 1 2 5 9 1 0 6 5 8 47, and for 1, 2, 2, 2, 7, 3, 5, 4, 8, 5, 4. Okay, that's for 1 do, right? And yes, so I'm going to check how many hours yeah, I've worked. I go to, let me check the database. Work 4 hours and 2, 5. So and go back and the other gentleman. Well, you have to check the hours that you have there, right? So they all work 40 hours, right? So that will be 42. Yeah. So that is what you are going to check, right? Mm. Hours worked. Yeah. So they worked 40 hours, 40, 40, 40, 40. So, mhm. Let me see the program again. Mhm. Hours worked greater than 40. Yes, yes. Overtime. So I'm gonna do a calculation of the overtime. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put in another column here, although that's not official, but that has to do with the pay calculation. Let me just put it in bracket, right? Pay. Because I just want to show pay calculation. Calculation. Because what I want to do, I want to show the examiner that what the program is to do at this point, right? So this has overtime. Yes, it has overtime. I will just say true, right? So say true and say false, 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 all right? So if it is false, what's it going to do? Overtime will remain at 0. Then here will be overtime, which is the 40. Let me check. What's the overtime there? Leads to, so it will be 42 minus 40. 42 minus 40, which is equal to 2. That's the overtime. So I'm just trying to make sure that it is clear. Click and drag, minimize 42 over 40, which is equal to 2. So if this is no, that part, this is true. Lee is that. Then angle by is 45. 45 minus 40 will give me 5, right? So here now it remains 0, 0, 0. Okay. So yes, that's it, right? And the next thing I'm going to do, let me adjust this a little bit. I'm going to expand this pay calculation, right? So remember, the program is going to calculate based on 40 times 40, which is pay X calculation, right? Right? And we are to print that at the end. So here will be that's the pay, right? Which is 40 times 40 times 400, right? Or we can just say 40 x 400, right? It's 42, right? So if it is that, it will now be plus 2 2x 800. Remember, it's a double, right? So if it's a double, what do? We close that part and we'll put our equal sign. This, let me adjust this because we still have things to put here. So it's just showing how the program works, right? So you check what 40 times 40 is going to give you 40 times 100 is going to give you 16,000, 16,000, right? Plus, that'll be 16,000 plus 2 times 800. 2 times 800 will be 1,600. 1,600, right? So the final one would be, final pay will be 16 plus 1, that will be 17,600. 17,600. Yeah, that will be the final pay, right? So let's see what this one says here. We are going to repeat the same thing. So just look at it there. 40 times 400, right? Plus 5 so it will be 40 times 5 times 800. So 5 times 800 equal to 5 times 8, that will give us 4,000. That'll be 16,000 plus 4,000, right? And you will get 20,000, right? Yes, that's how the program goes. So here, where you have 0, it will be 40 x 400, no double, no plus. So if it is 40 by that, it will be equal then p times, yeah, what are those? No need to just put it here. So there's 16,000. So you get the final. So what I'm just going to do, I'm just going to copy this and paste here, copy this one and paste on there, paste on there. Okay, so that's it, right? I think that's it for the trace. That's it for the trace. Okay, so I could just put in here trace table, right? And I will just select it, increase the font to maybe 16, and I make it bold, and I'll center it, right? I select the entire row where you have the headers, and I make it bold. Yes, as I make it bold, I'm going to expand them. Okay, now if you look at the trace table again, right? So let me see if I can increase this so that we can see it clearly. So here now, right? Just make this bold. Select this and make it bold. I'm actually just formatting it. Not necessarily, you may not necessarily do that, but I'm just trying to make it presentable. So yeah, there you have it, right? So let's see how the array flow. So when the array is in 1, right, it has to check the data that is for 1, and if it's here, you have Lee, which is the first housekeeper. You have the TRN of Lee. How many hours did Lee work? Is the hours greater than 40? Yes, Lee had additional 2 overtime hours. So we had to specify that here, which is making it 42. So we specify that, and we get the hours. And we come here and we do the calculation for X. Here, we now display the total of X, right? So there you go. There you have it. That's based on your, what do you call it again? Based on the variable here. Yes, based on the variable here. That is what we are using for that purpose. Okay. So this other part wasn't, because there's no need for that now. We already have the trace table. So what we are going to do now is to save our work. Click on File, go to Save. Then we browse the location where we saved our file. To browse, then you go to your folder. I'm going to go to the folder where I save it. Select the folder and go to problem solving. Select it. Here now, I'm going to change the file name. I'm going to write say program trace table. Right. And I click on save. Yes, that's the program trace table. So the next other thing you need to do is for some of you, you could do this. May not or may not be necessary, but you could just do your pseudocode. You could just save it as a Microsoft Word file. All you need to do is click on File, Blank Document. That is just another option. You come here, you go to Edit, and you click on Select All, which is Control A. You go to Edit again, you copy it, you come here, you right click, and you paste, right? So once you're done pasting, you can just go to File, Save As, you browse the location, you go to where you have your folders, and here you go. You rename the file to make sure you are here, problem solving, and you come to the file name, just say pseudocode. All right, you save it as a pseudocode. Okay. So now there you have that your pseudocode in a Microsoft Word file. Okay. Okay. So that's it. So that's for this part, right? That's for this part, the trace table, right? So here we have the trace table, and yeah. So the next thing we are going to do now is to go to the next part, which is the write a program, right? Okay. So we're going to write a program, then we are going to compile the program and run the program and see the result testing. Okay, that will be the next part, and that will be the last part. Okay, so see you in the next video.